Hey everyone. I know it's been more than a month of Sundays, we could probably say, since I have uploaded a podcast episode. So many changes on my end of things, new stuff that I'm working on with another brand with my daughter. But I realized as I was restructuring formats and thinking about things I wanted to share that the most valuable of anything I could ever remotely want to share with anyone comes out of my everyday interactions with the people closest to me. I have to say, first of all, shout out to my friend Sarah, whose son Ezra spawned an entire conversation today, which is the reason I decided to record this. This won't be that long, but I hope it'll be impactful. Now, we've been dealing with a lot. We've been dealing with a lot lately. I'll get into later the astrology of it all, but I just want to get this out first. Values, how you're aligned with them, how you're repulsed by values that don't align with you, how you redirect yourself to being in alignment with your values. How do we navigate all of this? What are we doing? Are you having, I guess, a time in life now where you're feeling some of that, where you're noticing that people's values aren't aligned with yours? Maybe you feel out of alignment with your own values. Maybe you're grasping at what your values are. What are you standing on? Values, we're going to look at Venus and Taurus when we're talking about that in particular, so please keep these two things in mind. But I was talking to my friend Sarah, and we'd had a conversation a while ago about an assignment that her son had for school. The kids had to create a lemonade stand. And this young man is lively, entertaining, boisterous, and just a joy. He decided to incorporate lobsters into his lemonade stand. So lobsters is his new thing. And she was even mentioning to me that, like, when they recently went on vacation, he chose an item from the gift shop that was a lobster magnet. We got into this entire conversation a little earlier where, like, lobsters really came to the fore, not just because it was something that her child has taken a liking to recently, but then that led me into talking about, I remember seeing this pair of shorts that my significant other has. They have lobsters all over them, right? But they're kind of like a tropical color. So I went and looked for these shorts to send Sarah a picture, sent her a picture. And then I'm like, oh, well, maybe I can find these shorts because I'd love for her son to have some. They would totally go with his whole lobster thing. So I look at the tag. I don't know why I was surprised at what was in the tag. My significant other, he really likes Ralph Lauren. It's a lot of Ralph Lauren. So I laughed to myself looking and seeing that there was a Ralph Lauren tag. And that led me to talking about the Ralph Lauren documentary, see how we go down a rabbit hole from lobsters. And how, like, I got so much joy watching my partner watch this. This is something that he values. He has years and years of collected items, clothing from, Ralph Lauren. And then, we were also simultaneously in this conversation talking about astrology readings and different things. And I was telling her, I remember being terrified at first when pricing what my readings were, but then to where I am now, and for the value that I give in my readings, I'm happy they're not on the lower side. And I talked about how it can be a fear for people to price something high for fear no one will pay it. And she has experience having been a hairdresser and mentioned that it was when her work, the quality of her work, commanded a higher price, that she felt the best when people are traveling from hours over to have their hair done by her. That felt good. That felt better than having the lowest prices in town and everybody coming to you. It was quality over quantity. And I was like, yeah, it's not sardines, it's lobsters. Lobsters up. So that's going to be my new thing. And it dawned on me to kind of speak about this when I was trying to decide what the next podcast episode was going to be about. Value. Value, 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 value. We all know, it's not a secret, especially if you're here in the US, things are expensive and keep getting more expensive. And it's annoying, honestly. Even if you make more money to be able to contend with the rising prices, if you're able to find a job where you have a raise, prices still keep going up. And in comparison to our parents, especially if you are, I would say, the Pluto in Libra or Pluto in Scorpio generation, there is a very good chance that your parents are part of the Pluto and Leo generation, the baby boomers. And I see people talk about all the time how it's so unfair that they hold us to these expectations based on their experiences with, graduating, going to school, finding a good job, getting the benefits. Or being able to buy a house for not that much money. I've seen memes where people make jokes about this, like, you paid $15 for your house and 6 cents for 4 years of school. Shut the fuck up. But the disconnect, because we are having to deal with things that our parents didn't have to deal with, as far as rising prices are concerned. But while we can talk about money in general being a Venus or a Taurus thing, value is also a Venus and a Taurus thing, and values. What is your set of standards and morals? What do you stand firm on? Taurus is a fixed sign. Fixed. Okay? Something to stand on. It's also earth. Think of something solid. Your values should be something that you hold firm on. They should not be wavering. They shouldn't be the other expression of Venus, which would be Libra and is an air sign. This is about something stable. What do you ground yourself in with your values? When it comes to the value that you place on yourself, your self-worth, what does that look like? If you're not constantly kind of checking in with yourself to answer some of these questions and see where you stand on things, be it issues, personal moral compass, what you want around you, what you don't want around you. If you don't know these things, if you don't have a firm foundation on your value, you're doing yourself a huge disservice. A lot of the time that I've taken since I last posted here, done a lot of different things. I'm excited about some things to come. And my new rule is I'm not going to talk about it. Just know it's forthcoming. But it's because I value my privacy, I'm learning. I had to become present to that. Also, in the realm of values, when we're thinking about what's important to us and what we are going to hold steadfast to, I think, especially when it comes in the spiritual community, because I've seen this happen for years, where people will say your spiritual gift is a gift, so to charge for it is no bueno. I disagree. The time, energy, effort, expertise, etc. that I put into my readings, because contrary to what seems to be TikTok astrology popular opinion, you don't intuit astrology. Your intuition is a tool that you can use when delineating, but astrology has rules. You can't just make some shit up and throw it at a wall. So, in essence, if you're providing readings, I expect that you have studied and practiced and experimented and solidified your knowledge and turned that knowledge into wisdom, which means you put the knowledge to work. If you don't do that, I don't care how intuitive you are. I don't care if that's an unpopular opinion, it is mine. But I'm saying that to say, in the spiritual community specifically, and because we live in conditions where it's super fucking easy to open your phone and see somebody giving some sort of astrological or spiritual advice. everybody's doing it, it's hard to know who to even listen to. There's so much noise out there. Most people don't even want to do the work of filtering through it. But what I think is even more dangerous is the fact that some people can't filter through it and are absorbing it all as if it's accurate. Specifically as it pertains to astrology, I have a problem with that, and I used to fight it often. I'm fighting it less and less these days in the way that I used to, because I find value in astrology. It's funny because Uranus is currently in Taurus. Uranus would rule astrology, Taurus would rule values. So that's interesting that that is occurring while I've been going through this transformation of understanding that the way that I used to fight fake astrology or just one-dimensional, really no knowledge to it astrology was to just call people out and argue with them. I'm not doing that anymore. The way for me to fight that sort of thing is to stand firm on being astrologically sound and have integrity. Just continue to do that. So that's what I'm gonna do. But I'm bringing that up to point out that if right now you're kind of feeling like I am not having the best time finding my footing on what I want to stand on, especially as it pertains to relating to other people. I don't know another way to put this other than to say I know it's difficult and I'm holding your hand from afar, but it's super important. Super important for you to start at least trying the process of having a value system that you could name if you had to, that you could firmly point to. There's so much influences these days, and everybody isn't as strong against random influences that they come across. Like, people don't fact check stuff, they just read headlines posted on social media. If somebody makes a meme about something, a lot of times people just take it as fact. Nobody researches. I found, and I've always been one to be like, is that true? Let me look that up. But I found that the more we challenge this sort of stuff, the more it happens. But at the same time, how do we challenge it? How do we challenge other people's assertion of what our values should be or what we should care about? Again, that points back to you've got to do some work yourself. You've got to do the work of starting to build that foundation of value. So when it comes to your self-worth, this brings me back to the lobsters. I know I've been all around the bend, but when it comes to lobsters and me saying lobsters up, what I'm saying is that's how up I want our values to be. We're not fishing for sardines. We're fishing for lobsters or setting traps for lobsters. I'm probably saying this so messed up. But the point of it is, even if when you solidify your values, the cost of that is expensive to others, do not diminish your value. There's nothing wrong with something being very valuable or a high ticket, so to speak, item. Everybody's not going to want to access that because the cost is too high, but that's okay. Lobsters don't have their value diminished simply because there are people not willing to pay for lobster. Same thing with your values. More and more, especially during this Chiron in Aries and also North Node in Aries, South Node in Libra transit, as I see people trying to take action to do healing work and go more in the direction of being at the helm of their life and making decisions for themselves instead of having other people tell them what they should value and what they should think. I know it's an unsettling time for a lot of people. In order to move forward from handing over the reins of what's most important to us to other people to tell us what it is, there's going to be some discomfort in the growth that it takes to get out of that. Lobsters up. Lobsters all the way up. I absolutely love y'all. I've missed doing this. I've been so busy. Busy with work outside of the astrology arena that I'm very proud of. Later on, there's going to be some things tied to that I most certainly will share. But I've had a wonderful experience over the past year and a half, building myself as a person, my skill sets, and my contributions that I'm able to lend to different things that I'm a part of. And I'm really excited about it. But I want to remind everybody, again, with the value thing, lobsters up, yo. Let's go. Do not be afraid to assign the appropriate value to your worth. And I don't want to say put a price on it, because then it sounds like you're being bought. But what I'm saying is, if you're expensive and people complain that you're expensive, okay, let them go somewhere less expensive. As we've navigated recent times, and this is an election year and there's so much coming up for that, and by the time November comes around, I will say this, I'll be doing an election watch party with my good friend and astrologer Marie Russo. That's always fun. We did one 4 years ago. We're going to make it interesting, but this year in particular, especially in the US, it's not like other parts of the world don't exist, but like here right now, it's pretty gnarly. Things are interesting. But we're seeing, again, the highlight of polarization. We're seeing, again, the divide immediately between Democrat and Republican, etc. It's becoming increasingly rare for me to find people who are like me and don't feel compelled automatically to subscribe to a side, given any side can catch this criticism. All sides are going to catch this criticism. But the ability to be able to do that is rooted in values. It's funny because values gets thrown around as something that's talked about a lot. People say conservative values, American family values. And so it's somewhat of a buzzword. What the fuck does that really mean on a personal level to you? Can people just say a bunch of buzzwords and you go, yeah, I support that? What are you supporting? And I don't even just mean as far as Republicans go. I mean anything. I am no longer willing to lend my support to causes or people that I don't have a great understanding of and that I don't support. And I don't think you can support something unless you fully understand what it is. So there's a lot of faux support that's going around, a lot of infighting. The minute someone says something that makes a person think that that person is on the opposing side, that person must be destroyed. And yet, the people that are the loudest, I'm still not sure what their values are rooted in. They're just spitting buzzwords. Don't be like those people. Don't be like those people. Lobsters up, yo. Seriously. I don't know another way to put it. Lobsters up.